there, my name is Kelly Dale with offthebeadedpath beadstore.com. I'm so excited that you joined me today because we are going to be working on a retro redo project, and this month's project is going to be the Paisley drop earrings. So when I originally came out with these earrings back in 2017, the Zoli Duos were the hottest thing on the market. Now, if you remember the Zoli Duos, what they were was they had a flat bottom to them, but a rounded top. And you had to have a left-hand version and you had to have a right-hand version for the projects that you were doing. They're beautiful. They're still beautiful. They're still on the market, but it was very frustrating having to have a left bead and a right bead. So then a company come out with the Paisley Duos. The Paisley Duos were the same thing as a Zoli Duo, except for instead of having a flat bottom and rounded top, both sides were flat. So you did not have to worry about having a right and a left because you could just flip them. So I'm going to show you today what that looks like if you use the Paisley Duos. But we had also got these gorgeous new Dagger Beads in the store, and I wanted to do something to kind of play with those. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to call the Dancing Queen earrings, because to me, when I made these, all I could think of was that amazing ABBA song, Dancing Queen. So, as my friend Rangashree said, they look like a little skirt, and I said they look like a little dancing queen. So, they are the Dancing Queen earrings, and so I hope that you're going to enjoy them because they are fun, flirty, just a lot of fun. So, here's what you're going to need. You're going to need two 14mm Rivolis for the project. You're going to need a size 11 Delica bead and a size 15 Miyuki seed bead. You're also going to need either 4 to 8 Paisley Duos, depending on which version of this earring that you're going to do. If you want to do the original Paisley drop earrings like these, you're going to need a little 2-hole cabochon like I've got here. And then you are going to need 5, 10, so 16 of the 5x16. Yes, 5x16 dagger beads. And I'm going to show you a couple of different versions of these earrings that I've made so you'll kind of see what you can play with and do with those. You're going to need 4 4mm Bicones. You are going to need a pair of ear wires, and then you are going to need your favorite thread. I'm going to use the dragon thread today and the 0.006, but you can use any type of thread as long as it's a 0.006 or below, and you will behoove you to use a size 12 beading needle. If you go above that, you're going to bust beads and be very unhappy with your project. So, as we make some changes into the pattern, I will let you know as we go through. If you want to see the original video, Sammy will link it up here. Also, you can look below in the video description box and it will be there as well, a direct link to it. So let's go ahead and let's get started. As I stated, I'm going to be using the dragon thread today. I'm using the size 6 in the gray, because I'm going to be doing this sample today to show you these fun earrings. So this is the original Paisley drop earrings. Now this version uses the 2-hole Paisleys, and you can see that they are flat on both sides, so it works out really nice not having to have that left and right bead. The other thing that you'll notice if you watch the original video versus now is there are no demi-round beads. The original project called for demi-rounds. So on this one, all I have done is I have substituted those demis for a size 15 seed bead. So it works out really well with these being just a little bit bigger, because all you have to do is put 2 15s here and you don't have to use any demi rounds. So the retro redo is the fun dancing queen. I love her. She is so cute. So you will notice in this version, instead of having 4 Paisleys like this one only has 2. And you actually will have a skirt of daggers. So we are going to have 5 daggers along the back and you are going to have 3 daggers here along the front, so that when you wear them, they will lay flat just like this when you wear them, and you will have layers. You'll see those peeking out behind, so they're a lot of fun. You'll also notice that instead of just having a little loop here at the top, I've added some little bicones just to give it a little bit more height. So this is the version I'm going to show you today. This one here is actually using 2 colors of daggers. So you'll see here on the back, I have one color, and then on the front, I have a completely different color. So it's fun to have that peeking out behind it. So I've got my materials laid out here and it's ready to go. So we're going to start them exactly the same, no matter which one we're doing. We're going to start out with 36 of my Delica beads. So you're just going to pick up 36 Delica beads. Once you have your 36 beads, double count them to make sure you have 36. I'm going to drop them down. And I'm going to leave just about a 4-inch tail thread here. And then I'm going to come back through all the beads again. You will not be able to get through all of them at one time. Just go through what you can. And then continue to go through the beads, pulling the thread through until you get all the way back around. So once you get back to the start, and I know I'm back to the start because right here is my tail thread, I'm going to continue on through 2 more beads. So I've gone all the way around and then through 2 more beads. So out of those 2 beads, you'll see there, my tail thread is coming out in one direction and my working thread is coming out in the other direction. Now this is definitely not required, but if you have a 1/2-inch wooden dowel, this will help you greatly. This is one that I use all the time. It's definitely not required. It just kind of helps you to give you something to hold on to while you are working the next steps. So for the following steps, we are just going to work around a peyote stitch. So I'm going to pick up 1 size 11 Delica. My thread is exiting this bead right here. Okay, this one right here. So I'm going to skip a bead, and then I'm going to go through the next bead here. I'm going to see if I can zoom in just a little bit for you there. So you can see I skipped a bead, went through a bead, and then when I pull this through, those 2 beads will sit side by side, just like that. Now you pick up a Delica, you skip a Delica, and you go through the next Delica. And again, the new bead should sit right on top of the bead that you skipped. Show you one more time here. So we pick up a Delica, we skip a Delica, and we come through the next Delica. So you're coming out of one, you pick up one, you skip one, and you go through one. All right, and you're going to go all the way around your circle doing just what I did. Once you've gone all the way around, this is what your piece should look like. And you'll notice here that I am back to the beginning because I am back to where my tail is. And I have one last bead to add. So I pick up the one bead, I skip the next bead, and I go through the following bead, which is going to be this bead right here. Don't make the mistake of jumping up here. Remember, you have to finish the row first. So I'm coming through that bead, and I'll pull it through. And then we do our step up, which is coming through the bead right above where our thread is exiting. So that now you've gone all the way around. I'm going to take it off here for a minute so you can see. You've gone all the way around, adding your peyote, and now you've done your step up. So I'm actually going to leave this on the little dowel to do the next parts because you can see that the dowel is a little bit smaller than the beadwork, and that's exactly what we want right this second. So now we're going to drop down to our 15s. So this is a 15 Miyuki, I'm going to pick up one and I'm just going to go straight through the next Delica that is sticking up. And you pick up a 15, go through the next Delica. So we're going to work all the way around, just popping in a 15 into our empty spaces all the way around. Once you've gone all the way around, you'll notice now that your piece is no longer into kind of a flat circle. You're starting to get some cupping inward, and that's what you want. All right, we definitely want that. So I've gone all the way around and I have stepped up by coming out of the size 15 seed bead that I started with. So now you're going to work another row putting in 15s. So on this row, we simply pick up a 15 and we go through the next 15 and pull it tight. So on this row, I'll take it off of the little dowel. Again, you don't have to have the dowel. It's just helpful to hold on to. And then I'm going to work my row just popping in one of these 15s all the way around. So as you work it, it's really going to fold in. You can see here on this sample how it really folds in, and that's what the look we're going for. This is what's going to hold our Rivoli in. So I'm going to work one more row of my 15s. You'll notice at the end of your row how it's really kind of caved in. And again, it's exactly what you want. So I'm coming out of the last 15 right here. This is the last one that I went through. So all I'm going to do is take my needle and I'm going to go through 3 Delicas at a diagonal right at that little 15 there, so I can go straight across to come to the other side of the encasement. So that now I'm going to be working on the back side. If you are using a Rivoli that has a foil backing like this one, you will want to lay your Rivoli face down, meaning the color side will be down and you will be looking at the foil backing. I am using this really cool black that has no foil on it, so it's a solid color, so you don't have to worry about a front and a back. But when you set it in there, it should fit perfectly. If it does not lay in and just fit perfectly like this, you have either done, if it's too tight, you have either stitched it incredibly too tight or you have done the wrong bead counts and you need to go back and check your bead counts because it should fit perfectly. You'll see here I'm coming out of my Delica, so now I'm going to work 2 rows of 15s on the back just like I worked on the front, pulling tight so that it will hold my piece into place. Once you have both sides finished, now you're ready to go ahead and start this fun embellishment. So if you want to do the original Paisley drop earrings, simply follow the instructions from the previous video that I've got linked. The only difference is you are only going to be putting in a 15 here and here. So you're not going to have to worry about using your demi rounds, but it's going to be pretty much exactly the same thing. But with this version, we got to do it a little bit differently. We're going to be using both holes of the Paisley, just as in our other one, except we're going to be using it for 2 different layers. So you'll be able to see here how instead of the Paisleys laying 100% flat, they're going to curve to the center just a little bit. That's exactly what you want. To see how they don't lay flat, or they do, I guess I should say. They're just going to lay more at an angle rather than laying completely flat. So my thread has been stitched through the beads to come out of what I call a single row Delica bead. If you'll pay attention, you have 2 beads on a row and then a single bead. 2 beads and a single. 2 beads and a single. You want to come out of this single row. So this one, this one, this one, just not a double row. We're going to be putting in our first row of our daggers. So when you lay your little Paisleys out, You'll want to lay them down to your piece just like this. Now, it's going to be dependent upon which side you're going to be coming out or which direction. My thread is coming out this direction, so I will actually be starting on this side, picking up my beads. So this is going to be a 3-bead row, or a 3-dagger bead row, I should say. So this is the direction, or this is the thought that I'm going to have put in here. So I'm going to start out and I'm going to pick up the inside hole of the Paisley first. Then it's going to be a size 15 seed bead. Then I'm going to do all 3 of my dagger beads. These dagger beads only have 1 hole in the very top there. Then I'm going to pick up a 15. And then this inner hole of my other Paisley. Now, I did want to show you in this one, this sample, I actually used 2 colors of 15s. The main color that I used, and you can kind of see here, that main color is going to be that copper color. But then I came back down here and I threw in some kind of teal colored 15 so that they match by Rivoli a little bit and pulls in a little bit of blue down here as well. So if you want to use multiple colors of 15s, you can. So my thread is coming out of this single bead Delica row. I'm going to skip the next single bead Delica row, which is here, and then I'm going to go through the third, which is here. So I'm coming out of this one, I'm going to skip this one, and then I'm going to go through the next one. And when you pull that, this is what it will look like. So you could definitely do an earring similar to this if you wanted to with just the 3 daggers. It would still be fun, but you could totally do that. Now I'm going to pull this back a little bit so that you can see what I'm going to do. We really need to go back and reinforce this row again. Each row that we do with the daggers needs to be reinforced. So I'm going to take and I'm going to come right back down through the Paisley, the 15, and a couple of the daggers and pull this through. Now you'll notice I went through the same holes of the beads that I've already been through. And now I'm going to continue through the next 15 Paisley, and then I'm going to keep this pulled back so that you can see this right here was the original Delica that I was coming out to start the step. So I'm going to go back through that same Delica again so that you can see I'll have a thread on each side once I pull this through. Now I'm going to go back through it once more. You will not regret going through and doing this, I promise, because if you don't, some of these daggers can rub up against the thread and cause it to break. So definitely do not skip these reinforcement steps. So I'm going to pull this back here so that you can see this was the Delica that I started with when I did this step. So I'm going to come right back through the Delica again. And I'm going to be going from the inside to the outside of the bead. I'm going to go through the next Delica here. It's going to be on a 2-bead row. It does not matter if I work on the front or the back. And then I'm going to go through the next Delica, which is going to be that single Delica bead row. And I will go through the outer hole of the Paisley. I find it easier to work on the back side of the piece now. I'm going to be using my second color of dagger bead. So I'm going to pick up a 15, 5 of my daggers, and then a 15. Now, this is the part you've got to be really careful with because you want it to go to the back, like I said, but also we don't want our threads to get caught up on the other daggers that we have here. So I dropped all my beads down, and now I'm going to go through the outer hole of the paisley on this side. And again, be really careful because you don't want the thread to catch into the daggers that are already in front. So if this is my back side, you'll be looking at a foil backing. Then I'm going to take and I'm going to come through. I'm going to come on this side now, and I'm going to come through the single bead Delica row on this side. And again, be careful as you pull. There we go. Just like that. Now I'm going to go back down again because we need to, again, to reinforce, just like we did on our others, we're going to reinforce it. I'm going to go through that single bead Delica row again. And then I'm going to go through it one more time. Don't fudge on these steps, guys. I know that we don't like to do reinforcement steps, but don't fudge on the reinforcement steps or you will break your thread and you're going to be so upset because you put all this time into making these cute earrings and they're going to break. So don't skip the step. Okay, go through your base single row Delica again. This is why I said a 12 needle is so important to use on this project, because if you don't, by the time you go through and do all this reinforcement, you're going to bust beads. Now I'm going to stitch up through the beads here. And mainly I'm going just through the Delicas here on this outer edge. And look right there, you got to be careful of that right there. So if you have a beading awl or something like that that you can have handy while you're doing your project, that will help. And then I'm just going to continue to stitch up. And I believe it's the 6th single row Delica that I want to come out of, but I'll check it as soon as I get up here. So if I can't get through one bead easily, then I'll just work to come out of another one. And I'm gonna have Sammy put a picture in here of what my needle looked like when I finished the first one of these little dancing queen earrings. Oh my goodness, only a beater will understand like how bad my poor needle looked. It was a hot mess. Okay, let me check here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it's the 6th one. Yes. So not counting the bead you're coming out, like your single bead you started with here. You want to come through 6 single bead Delica rows. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I want to come out one more. And then this is where I'm going to start the bail or the earring loop for my piece. So again, if I hold it here on the side, I'm not counting the one that I attached with. I'm going to count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You pick up a bicone, a Delica, and a bicone. You are going to skip a single bead Delica row, and you're going to go through the next single bead Delica row. So again, skip one, go through one. Now you want to turn around basically because you need to be coming out of this bead to do the next step. So what I'll do is I come to this very next row here, which is a single bead Delica row. And I did not mean to go through that one bead. So I came through this bead, and now I'm just going to turn around and come through the bead right next to it on the front side. So what happens is it kind of locks that thread in place, and it gets me turned around so that now I can stitch back up through my bead here to come out of my single Delica in the middle. Now, you do you, okay? If you want to put a, a wire protector, or however you want to do it, it's completely up to you. I'm just going to pick up 6 15s. Started to say 3. I knew that wasn't right. 6 15s, and I'm going to come back through the same Delica that my thread is coming out of to make my circle. So I have a little tiny circle of beads here. Now I'm going to reinforce this circle a couple of times. You mainly are just going to keep reinforcing that circle until you're having a hard time getting your needle through. So if I do one more time, I don't know if I'll get it through. So that's enough. And then I'm going to go through the Delica, the 4mm, and then I'm just going to start sewing down through my beads to lock my thread in place. So to lock it in place, see, I'm coming out there. So now I'm just going to do almost like I did the turnaround over here. I'm going to come to the front side and go through the bead here on the front, right next to it. Pull it through, and then I'm going to come back down through that bead again. That is going to lock that thread in place. And I normally do that in 2 places. So it's just dependent upon how I can easiestly, not sure what the best way, whatever's easiest. There we go. And just lock that in place. Would you look at that? Y'all, I just busted a bead. Oh my gosh, that frustrates the snot out of me. Oh well, you win some, you lose some. So, me personally, I am not going to go in and redo this whole thing to pop that bead in there. I'm going to leave the piece of the bead that is still in there. I'm just going to leave it there. Let it act like a bead. These are my earrings. If somebody gets close enough to me that they see my one little broke bead, my poor one broke bead. Oh, Lord, y'all know though. Y'all know me. I'm going to go back and I'll fix it. I'll redo the whole thing just to fix it. So you can see there how quick and easy those are to make. Now you'll also notice that one of the differences between the original version of the earring and the newer version is that I do not have a backing. I did not stitch a backing to my piece back here. This is going to be an earring. It's not going to be touching any part of my body. So I did not put the backing on it. You definitely can go back to the link to the old video to see the instructions on how to add the backing if you want to make this into a pendant or something of that nature. But then all you have to do is add your ear wires, and then you have this piece complete. So friends, as you can see, these little retro redos are a fun way to showcase all these beautiful new daggers. I know we all have daggers in our stash probably, and it's such a fun way just to showcase those. But just know you can find the updated pattern for this on my website at offthebeadedpathbeadstore.com. The great thing for you guys, if you've purchased this pattern in the last few years, it will be there for you to go in and download again. So all you have to do is go to your account on the website and go to your orders page and just find the order where you placed the order for that specific pattern. You can just go in and download that updated version again. But the updated version will have the instructions on how I did the bottom and how I did the top of the new earring. I also have a link below that will take you directly to the Dagger Beads. If you do not have any daggers, it'll take you straight to the Dagger Beads on our website. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day, and we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.